The twin suns rose slow over the shattered horizon, casting long golden rays through the broken glass of the royal citadel. What had once been a battlefield now breathed like a wounded giant, quiet, scarred, but alive. The marble floors of the grand hall still bore the burn marks of plasma fire. Yet in the center, surrounded by banners half torn, stood Zara, the new queen of Zerades. Her silver crown was newly forged, still faintly glowing with molten seams, symbolizing a kingdom rebuilt from ashes. Beside her stood David, the human warrior who had once been her enemy, now her ally, and something more. His armor, scorched and dented, had not been replaced. He refused the royal silks offered to him. His presence itself was a reminder that peace had come at a cost. As the court gathered, whispers rippled like ghosts among the alien nobles. Some bowed with true respect. Others lowered their heads only out of fear. The air was thick with the weight of history. Humans standing beside aliens inside a hall that had seen centuries of hate. Zara took a breath, steadying her voice. Zara, let this day mark the end of war. Not as queen to a people, but as daughter of two worlds reborn. David turned slightly toward her, watching her speak. He didn't smile. His eyes, tired and guarded, scanned the hall, knowing peace was fragile, and enemies were already watching from the shadows. From the far end, an alien general stepped forward and bowed deeply. General Kale, Your Majesty, the humans honor their truce. The borders are silent. A flicker of relief crossed Zara's face, but David's jaw tightened. He knew silence never lasted long in this galaxy. Outside, beyond the citadel walls, the city slowly came alive. The people, human and alien alike, looked up at the sky streaked with light, uncertain of what this new dawn truly meant. As the camera pulls back, the royal citadel stands tall against the morning glow, scarred yet shining. The peace of two worlds balanced on the fragile bond of a queen and a soldier. The citadel was alive again, but peace had not reached its corridors. Inside the throne hall, voices murmured like a low storm. Alien ministers in shimmering robes argued in hushed tones, their glowing eyes darting toward the humans standing near the dais. David stood silently, hands clasped behind his back. He didn't belong here, and everyone knew it. The polished black marble under his boots reflected not just his image, but their distrust. At the top of the stairs, Queen Zara listened to her advisors, her expression unreadable. Her purple hair glowed faintly beneath the crystal skylight, every strand alive with the same quiet fire that burned in her heart. Minister Varnak, an old alien noble, stepped forward, bowing stiffly. Varnak, Your Majesty, the council questions your decision to keep the human warrior so close. The people whisper. They call him the Iron Ghost. A ripple of agreement spread through the hall. Zara's golden armor caught the morning light as she rose from her throne. Zara, let them whisper. Without him, there would be no throne for them to kneel to. The words silenced the room, but not the resentment. David took a slow step forward, his voice steady. David, if my presence offends your court, I'll leave the citadel. I've fought enough wars to know when I'm not welcome. Zara's eyes snapped toward him, calm yet fierce. Zara, you'll do no such thing. You saved this world, David. You earned your place here, even if they don't see it yet. For a long moment, no one spoke. The tension was a living thing, coiling between marble pillars and echoing in every breath. Then, from behind the throne, a smaller figure stepped out, Princess Lyra, Zara's younger sister, dressed in ceremonial gold with matching glowing purple hair. Her tone was soft, but her words sharp. Lyra, maybe the council doesn't hate him because he's human. Maybe they fear what you feel for him. The hall froze. Even the guards looked away. Zara's hand tightened around the throne's edge, a faint tremor in her voice. Zara, enough, Lyra. David's gaze lowered. The truth was out, and it cut deeper than any blade. As Lyra turned and walked away, her golden robes trailing like flames, the whispers began again. Outside, thunder rolled across the alien skies. The peace that had begun at dawn now trembled at the edge of collapse. The camera pulls back, the queen standing tall, her warrior silent beside her, and shadows creeping once more across the throne of peace. Night fell over the citadel, soft blue light shimmering from the twin moons above. The palace garden, carved from living crystal, glowed faintly with alien flowers that pulsed like beating hearts. David walked alone along the glass pathways, his reflection trailing him like a ghost. The murmurs from the throne room still echoed in his head. He wasn't sure what stung more, the council's distrust or Lyra's words. Behind him, a quiet voice broke the silence. Lyra, You walk like a man haunted. David turned. Princess Lyra stepped out from behind the crystal vines, her face calm but unreadable. The starlight caught the gold markings along her cheekbones, symbols of royal lineage. David, maybe I am. Lyra, you should be. My sister's court isn't kind to outsiders, especially those who make her forget her duties. David frowned. If you're implying something, princess, say it. Lyra stepped closer, not with anger but with cold precision. Lyra, I'm implying that my sister has begun to feel. And feelings, ambassador, are dangerous in a ruler. You think you understand her because she smiles when you speak. You don't. You see a woman. We see a queen. Her eyes glowed faint violet, scanning his face. David, maybe you're right. Maybe I don't understand her completely. But I've seen what she hides from everyone else. The loneliness, the burden. You call it weakness. I call it humanity. Lyra tilted her head slightly, studying him like a curious scientist. Lyra, and that is exactly what terrifies the council. You make her too human. Silence hung between them, broken only by the soft hum of bioluminescent plants. Then softer. Lyra, for what it's worth. I don't hate you. I envy you. David blinked. Envy me? Lyra's voice dropped, almost to a whisper. Lyra, because she listens to you. I've spent my life in her shadow, fighting for a fraction of that trust. A flicker of pain crossed her alien eyes before she turned away. Lyra, go back to her, David, before someone convinces her that you're her enemy. As she disappeared into the glowing mist, David looked up, the twin moons reflected in his eyes, the same color as hers. He didn't notice the faint shimmer of a surveillance drone watching from the treetops. Someone somewhere in the citadel was listening. The throne chamber was dim tonight, lit only by the soft luminescence of the crystal pillars. Shadows danced across the silver walls, twisting like restless spirits. David entered slowly, unsure what waited for him. Queen Zara stood by the grand window, her back turned, her long, glowing purple hair rippling like liquid fire. The air around her felt tense, charged. Without looking back, she spoke. Zara, did you enjoy your walk in the garden, ambassador? David froze. Her tone was calm, too calm. David, if this is about the council meeting, I needed to clear my head. She turned, eyes glowing amber and violet, but this time the warmth was gone. Zara, then you cleared it with the wrong person. David, Lyra? Zara, yes. My sister. Her voice sharpened. You think I wouldn't know you met her under the stars? That no one would tell me. David exhaled slowly. She approached me. She wanted to talk. Zara, about me? David, about you. About how your council fears that you're changing. A flicker of hurt crossed her face, too brief for most to notice, but David saw it. She stepped closer, her regal posture cracking just slightly. Zara, and do you agree with them? David hesitated. No, but I think they're scared because you're becoming something new, someone who doesn't rule through fear. She laughed, a short, bitter sound. Zara, you think kindness is strength, David. On my world, it's the fastest way to lose your crown. David, maybe that's what your world needs to change. Her eyes flared brighter, like stars about to collapse. Zara, change costs blood here. You speak of ideals, but you don't know the weight of command. David, then teach me. His voice rose now, passionate. You keep saying I don't understand your world, so let me. Stop pushing me away every time I try. Zara's breath caught. For a heartbeat, the fury faded. She looked at him not as a ruler, but as a woman standing on the edge of trust. Zara, you don't understand what you're asking. If the council thinks you're influencing me, they'll remove you. Or worse. David, let them try. A long silence. Then she stepped forward, close enough that the light from her glowing markings reflected off his skin. Zara, you're impossible. David, and you like that? Her lips twitched, a ghost of a smile breaking through the storm. Zara, don't test me, ambassador. David, not testing. Reminding you. Zara, of what? David, that you don't have to face them alone anymore. She looked at him for a long moment, then turned away, voice trembling just slightly. Zara, get some rest. Tomorrow, the council will decide whether this arrangement continues. As David walked out, he caught his reflection in the mirrored floor, a human standing in a palace built for gods. Behind him, Zara's eyes glowed again, not with anger this time, but with something far more dangerous. Hope. The Grand Council chamber of the Zero-T Empire shimmered like a suspended galaxy. Dozens of floating platforms surrounded a central dais, each bearing nobles draped in silver and gold armor, their luminous markings glowing faintly in the twilight air. The sound of whispered telepathy filled the room, a silent storm of judgment. At the center stood Queen Zara, composed but tense, her ceremonial robe of black and violet flowing around her like liquid night. Beside her stood David, dressed in human diplomatic uniform, the only being in the chamber without glowing skin or markings. The High Counselor's voice echoed through the chamber. High Counselor Varys, this hearing has been convened to discuss the alliance between Her Majesty Queen Zaravel and Ambassador David Park of Earth. Concerns have been raised regarding influence, loyalty, and the preservation of Zero-T tradition. A ripple of murmurs followed. Some nobles nodded grimly, others sneered at the human. Zara, concerns that have no foundation in fact. Ambassador Park's counsel has strengthened our policies, not weakened them. A tall noblewoman stepped forward, Lady Koresh, Zara's longtime political rival. Her silver hair shimmered like a blade under the light. Koresh, Your Majesty, it's not his counsel we question, but his presence. Humans are impulsive, emotional, and now rumors spread that he walks your gardens with your sister under the stars. Is that diplomacy or seduction? The chamber erupted with whispers. David's jaw clenched, but Zara raised her hand, the gesture of silence. Zara, enough. Ambassador Park is my advisor. His loyalty to this alliance has been proven more than once. Koresh, proven or spoken, you've grown softer since his arrival. The council fears you are being humanized. The insult hung in the air. David stepped forward before Zara could respond. His voice was steady, but carried the edge of command. David, if by humanized you mean she has chosen compassion over tyranny, then yes. She's changing for the better. The nobles stirred. Some shocked, some intrigued. Varys, Ambassador, you speak boldly in a hall where words can decide your death. David, then let my words stand for what I believe. You see compassion as weakness. I see it as evolution. Maybe the Zero-T Empire doesn't need colder rulers. Maybe it needs braver hearts. The silence that followed was electric. Even Zara turned her head slightly, her expression unreadable. Then, from the shadows of the upper gallery, a familiar voice echoed, Lyra, the Queen's sister. Lyra, perhaps the ambassador speaks truth. The nobles gasped. Lyra stepped into the light, her golden armor gleaming, her glowing purple hair marking her royal bloodline. Lyra, our empire has ruled through fear for centuries. Perhaps it's time we tried something different, something human. Zara's eyes widened slightly, surprise flickering behind her regal calm. Koresh, you would betray your counsel to defend a human? Lyra, I would defend the one who helped my sister feel again. Zara inhaled sharply, the first break in her perfect composure. Varys, enough. The council will recess to deliberate. The decision of this union's future, and the ambassador's place among us, will be given at dawn. The chamber lights dimmed as the platforms slowly descended, one by one, into the mist below. Zara stood motionless. Then quietly to David. Zara, you shouldn't have spoken. David, if silence meant losing you, I'd rather speak and burn. Her eyes softened, just a flicker. Zara, you may get your wish if the council votes against us. As they turned to leave, Lyra met David's gaze from across the hall. She gave a single nod, a silent promise that the night was not yet lost. The first light of dawn seeped through the crystalline domes of the council citadel, scattering rainbows across the misty floor. The air was heavy with silence, the kind that only precedes something irreversible. Zara stood before the High Council once again, her royal insignia replaced with ceremonial armor that gleamed like tempered starlight. David stood behind her, unarmed but unafraid. The chamber was smaller now, the private circle of judgment, where only the highest nobles and royal family were allowed. High Counselor Varys, the council has deliberated through the night. We have weighed the value of your union against the risks it brings to Zero-T sovereignty. And we have reached our conclusion. Zara, speak it then. Varys glanced toward Lady Koresh, who smiled faintly, confident of victory. Varys, by majority decision, the council decrees that the human ambassador's influence is a destabilizing force. He will be removed from the empire, permanently. The word struck like a physical blow. David's hands tightened into fists, but he stayed silent. Zara, you dare overrule the Queen's decision? Koresh, not overrule, protect. You have grown sentimental, Majesty. You forget what your crown demands. Zara took one step forward, her voice colder than the void beyond the stars. Zara, my crown demands loyalty to the Empire, and I am loyal. But I will not sacrifice the one man who taught me what strength truly is. Varys, then you force our hand. From the corner, the guards stepped forward, silver-armored elites with plasma spears in hand. Lyra moved swiftly between them and David, her armor glowing gold in the rising sun. Lyra, touch him and you'll answer to me. Koresh, the council does not answer to children. Lyra, then perhaps it's time the council learns how the new generation speaks. The chamber filled with murmurs. The tension was a living thing now, coiling tighter with every breath. Zara, enough! Her voice echoed, amplified by the energy of her royal insignia. The air shimmered as her control aura filled the room, silencing every whisper. Even the guards froze. Zara, if the council chooses exile or execution for David Park, then it will also lose its queen. I will abdicate my throne. Gasps rippled across the chamber. Varys' eyes widened in disbelief. Varys, you would abandon the Zero-T Empire for a single human? Zara, no. I would abandon an empire that no longer remembers how to love. David stepped forward, his voice steady low. David, Zara, don't do this. You'll destroy everything you built. Zara, I already did, David. I built walls where bridges should have been. I led with power when I should have led with purpose. You reminded me of that. The counselors exchanged alarmed glances. Even Koresh's smirk faltered. Lyra, if my sister abdicates, I'll take her place, and I'll honor her decision. The chamber erupted in chaos. Varys tried to regain control, but it was too late. The guards hesitated, torn between law and loyalty. Koresh, you're both fools. The empire will collapse under sentiment. Zara turned to her, her tone cutting as a blade. Zara, then let it collapse and rise again with compassion. She reached for David's hand. For the first time, in full view of the council, the human and the queen stood united, not as ruler and subject, but as equals. The sunlight broke fully through the chamber dome then, scattering gold and violet across their faces. Zara, let the stars bear witness. I choose him. And as the council fell into turmoil, the queen and the ambassador walked together toward the open balcony, stepping into the blinding light of a dawn that belonged to no one's rule but their own. The Zerati flagship Celestial Harmony drifted above the twin suns, its silver hull glowing against the sea of violet clouds below. The once mighty palace towers of Zirith Prime shrank in the distance, symbols of a life Zara had just walked away from. Inside the ship's observation deck, the atmosphere was quiet, reverent, the calm after the storm. Zara stood beside the viewport, her crown now resting on the command console. Without its glow, she looked less like a queen and more like a woman who had finally allowed herself to breathe. David approached slowly, his reflection merging with hers against the glass. David, it feels strange, leaving behind an empire. Zara, I didn't leave it behind. I left it to grow without chains. He studied her face, the mix of strength and exhaustion there. David, do you think they'll ever understand? Zara, not today. But someday someone will tell our story, and they'll understand that love can be a kind of governance too. The doors opened with a soft hiss. Lyra entered in full golden armor, carrying a small crystalline sphere pulsing with amber light. Lyra, before you go, I wanted you to have this. Zara turned. What is it? Lyra, a memory core. Every council session, every reform, every decree you ever passed, it's all in here. I thought you'd want a piece of what you built. Zara accepted it gently, her purple glowing hair reflecting in the glass. Zara, thank you, little sister. Lyra smiled faintly. Lyra, you're not running away, are you? Zara, no. I'm just choosing a different kind of battle. Lyra, then go win it for both of us. They embraced, the kind of quiet, fierce hug shared only between sisters who have fought wars together, and now must part ways to fight different ones. When Zara pulled back, Lyra's golden eyes shimmered. Lyra, the Empire will stand. I'll make sure of it, David, and we'll be watching the stars for when it shines brighter than ever. Lyra turned to him, offering the traditional Zerati salute, fist to heart. Lyra, protect her, human. David smiled. David, always. The ship's engines came alive, a deep hum vibrating through the deck. Outside, the twin suns aligned perfectly, a celestial farewell. As celestial harmony began to rise, the golden rays reflected across the clouds, painting them in hues of lavender and fire. Zara looked one last time toward the planet below, her home, her legacy, her past. Zara, goodbye, Zirith Prime. May you finally learn to love. David reached for her hand. Their fingers intertwined. David, so where to, my accidental queen? A faint smile touched her lips. Zara, anywhere the stars will take us. The ship ascended higher, disappearing into the brilliant light, a symbol of two souls choosing freedom over power, love over empire. The stars ahead shimmered like 1,000 promises waiting to be written. The twin suns of HFY Prime rose slowly over a horizon of crystal plains and silver oceans. Vast fields of violet flora shimmered under the morning light, bending gently in the wind like they were bowing to the new rulers of their world. The celestial harmony descended through the glowing mist, engines whispering softly. Its hull reflected the sunrise, a symbol of rebirth more than conquest. As the ship settled on a clearing near the shoreline, David and Zara stepped out together. The alien air was fresh and alive, humming faintly with the resonance of unseen life forms. David took a slow breath, looking around with awe. David, it's beautiful untouched. Like the galaxy's been holding its breath, waiting for someone to start over. Zara, her purple glowing hair catching the morning light, looked toward the distant horizon where floating isles hung like jewels in the sky. Zara, this is what I wanted to build, not an empire of control, but a world of possibility. She knelt, touching the crystalline soil. It pulsed faintly beneath her fingers, responding to her energy. Zara, the soil is alive. The planet accepts us. David smiled faintly, kneeling beside her. David, then it's official. The universe doesn't just tolerate us, it welcomes us. A soft chime echoed from Zara's communicator. It was a message from Lyra, a short transmission from the Zarati Council chamber. The reforms have passed. The Empire has accepted the new alliance model. You were right, sister. They're learning. Zara's eyes shimmered with emotion as she closed the device. Zara, she did it. David, you both did. They walked toward a small rise overlooking the glowing ocean. The wind carried the scent of metallic blossoms and distant thunder. David, you know, when I made that stupid proposal, I thought I'd ruin my career. Zara, you didn't ruin it. You rewrote it. He laughed softly, his hand finding hers. David, and you rewrote the meaning of power. Zara, power means nothing if it isn't shared. Just like love. She turned to face him fully now, the sunlight reflecting in her silver eyes. Zara, so ambassador, or should I say co-ruler, what do humans say at the beginning of a new journey? David, we usually say, here's to the future. He extended his hand. She clasped it firmly. Zara, then here's to our future, one where empires don't conquer, they evolve. The camera of the scene would pull back, two figures standing hand in hand on a hill of glowing crystal grass, watching the dawn spill across a living alien world. Above them, the stars faded slowly, making way for the light of a new day. And for the first time in centuries, both human and Zarati futures began not with a treaty, but with love.